Hey, what is up, investors? Jason here. So in this video, we're going to be talking about EV stocks. On this particular day, we're seeing a good amount of green in this market, but there have been many days where we have been seeing red, and we still not seeing any of these stocks going to prices that they were back in February. We have still been seeing a bit of a correction going on in this space from it trying to correct back to those prices, but at the same time, there is still a lot of things that are controlling the market right now, and a lot of that is having to do with China, crackdowns in tech, as well as companies that IPO here that are Chinese companies, and how China is wanting to regulate these companies the way that they do IPO in the United States. So there's a bit to talk about here. So ones that we're going to primarily be looking a lot into is NIO, Xpev, and Li Auto, but also talking a bit about these other EV stocks as well. So as we get to it, if you guys don't mind, please do me a huge favor. Please be sure to smash, destroy, annihilate, or gently press that like button. That helps me out a lot with the YouTube algorithm, helps spread these videos to more people that might find it interesting. And subscribe if you have not already. And if you're interested in being a Patreon and helping support this channel even more, I have one. Link is in the description. There's a private Discord attached to that. And I also have a link down below for BlockFi. If you open up a new account with a deposit of $100 or more, you can get up to $250 of free Bitcoin. So that's also an interesting link. So now let's get to it. So I'm making this right now as the market is getting ready to close, and we see a lot of green right now in the entire EV space. But the ones that primarily that we need to be looking at are these three Chinese ones, the NIO, Xpeng, and Li Auto, because these are three really big players in China. But as far as EV stocks go here in the United States, I mean, the biggest one is, of course, Tesla, that also has business in China. So China can also be a very big changer in the way that Tesla is. So we have to really be talking about this and looking into it and what problems can this really create, because so much is really relying on China right now. And when you think about semiconductors and other things that these vehicles all do rely on, that's things where China can be a big player in that. So we really do need to be monitoring this and talking about it and just getting more of an understanding of what is going on. Now, looking at Tesla stock graph here, you can see that it's down quite a bit from where it was over this last month. But at the same time, you know, Tesla just released an earnings report, and it was a really nice earnings report that came out, and it was a bit of a surprise to some people. But it didn't really do much for changing the price of the stock at this moment. It's still down quite a bit from where it was from earlier in July, as well as where it was back in June. But at the same time, you know, Tesla stock has made a whole lot of moves, especially in 2020. The stock has gone up significantly in a very short amount of time. But people are investing in Tesla for where they're seeing this company go in the future. And it has a lot of great things coming. It's doing a lot of things right now, but it has a lot of things to really offer in the future. And that's why a lot of people are investing into it. But China can be a big factor in that because, of course, Tesla's the only U.S. car maker that actually has a factory in China where they're managing themselves. There are other companies, U.S. companies that are in China having things built, but there's it's kind of like more of a third-party type thing where Tesla is the only one that's actually there building vehicles. So China could be somebody that could having a lot of effect on Tesla if there was some sort of regulations to coming into U.S. companies that are doing business in China. So we'll have to see how it does play out. But for the future outlook, of course, Tesla has a lot of great things to really be offering with the Cybertruck, with the Semi, with where they're at with their energy side of their business, with solar, all that great stuff. Now, looking at NIO, and this is also going to go for Xpeng and Li Auto as well, but we can see that Leo stock is down quite significantly, and especially from where it was at its highs, where this stock just a while back ago was trading for as high as about $67 a share. So there's been a good amount of pullback coming in from NIO, but NIO's still sitting at a very nice price. I mean, if we were to really pull back on NIO and look at just where they were at even a year ago when NIO was trading for around $12, but if we go back just a little bit more and we go into the beginning of 2020, we can see that NIO stock was one that was less than $3 even at that time. So NIO has made a lot of big moves in pretty much a significantly short amount of time. So I think that there's still a bit of growing pains that we could be seeing from NIO still as well. But NIO is a stock that, in my opinion, when I really do my outlook on this stock, this is one that I'm seeing that's going to be going to $100 a share eventually. I think that the big catalysts for NIO are going to be coming as we get into the end of 2021, like around December 2020, like what we saw going on with NIO back in the end of 2020, when we saw a lot of momentum going up with NIO and them increasing the amount of vehicles that they're delivering, because we know that NIO, Xpeng, and Li Auto, they're doing some pretty big expansions on their factories to be able to start producing even more vehicles. So they're going to be much larger players in the whole EV space in China and bigger competitors to Tesla in China as well. So these are ones that I'm very bullish on. I think that there's a lot more to be coming from them, especially with new vehicles that they're going to be releasing and all that jazz. It's going to be great stuff coming from all three of those companies. But at the same time, there is possibilities that China could be having a little bit of a say that can cause a little bit of an effect. But I think that problem is more so with companies that are looking to IPO in the United States that are Chinese companies. I think China is wanting to more keep those Chinese companies in China. Now, a lot of the green that we've been seeing recently, or just now in the EV space, I should say, is because of the retail investors buying up those dips. The institutional investors, they were selling off a lot of China stocks, and we really saw that really drop down the price of these Chinese stocks, and that's where the retail investors came in. They swooped it up to try to make some gains on those dips. Now, Vonda, a independent research house, said its data showed subdued retail trader activity earlier in the week, but just as fears of contagion from China spilled over to Wall Street, the dip buying army reappeared. Vonda's data is tracked globally, but US-based traders likely comprise the biggest chunk of it. Vonda said U.S. listed shares of three Chinese companies, electric vehicle makers NIO, Xpeng, and tech giant Alibaba, were among the 6 biggest bought stocks by U.S. retail investors on Tuesday, attracting net inflows worth a combined $194 million. Now, I really think it would be hard to see these particular EV stocks to stop being traded here in the United States. I don't think that we really have a whole lot to be worrying about those. I really think that this is just more of an issue for future Chinese companies to start trading here in the U.S. And saying that about NIO, especially since the Chinese government has a whole lot invested in the NIO, that's not one that would really be just taken out. I mean, they have a lot to gain from being traded here in the U.S., having U.S. investors pouring money into it. Now, future IPOs coming from China, those are the ones that I think that we won't be seeing anytime soon. I think that companies that were planning on having an IPO here in the U.S., they're going to be pulling out. We're already seeing that, and I think that more are just going to be doing so. Now, let's just look over at what the analysts are still saying about NIO, Xpeng, and Li Auto, and that's going to really help us out with the entire EV space, because a lot of that is really weighted on these 3 stocks and Tesla. So looking at NIO for starts right now, NIO currently trading at $41.68 at the time that I'm looking at this. The median price is about $60. $59.14 is where it's at with the analysts. The low, $18.86, which I don't think we're going to really be seeing it getting there. Things are going to have to be really tough, but I think that the retail investors, they're going to be very strong and keep pulling that up and keeping that above that price, in my opinion. Now, the high, $91.55. I'm saying the high that we could be seeing this is $100 or even more. I think that there's a lot more to be expected, because when I was buying NIO at $2 a share, people thought I was crazy. And within a year, where did NIO go from $2? It went up a lot. So looking at this, I really think that we could see NIO breaking through these highs, and I think we're going to even see NIO get up to an all-time new high in November, December. As we get closer to that new vehicle coming out, as we get closer to those new news of their factory being built out, all that jazz is going to really be helping out NIO. Now let's just go look over at what we're seeing with Xpeng, what the analysts are saying about them. Now looking over at Xpeng stock. Now Xpeng currently is trading for $37.39. Its medium is $49.56, so it still has a bit to go before it gets to that median. And the low, $25.82, so that's not too low. I mean, it could drop $10 if things were to get too bad, but I know that the retail investors will help push this up if that does happen, but that low does make sense for Xpeng at this moment. But the high, $69.53. So it shows that there is potential for a lot of growth from the analysts, from what they're thinking, that it does have the potential to go to a price close to $70 a share. And I think that Xpeng is also one that can easily go to $100 as long as all the catalysts do line up at the right time. I think where we'll see NIO really, move up, like I said, in November, December, I think the same thing will happen for Xpeng, in my opinion. Now looking over at Li Auto, Li currently trading for $30.61. The medium is $39.25. The low is $22.57. So it's possible that it can get this low, but I think that, again, the retail investors will help push it up. The high, $61.03. Now, Li is pretty close to this median, though. So I really think that it's going to easily hit that median. It's quite possibly that it will hit that high. Now, Li does have really high expectations of how many vehicles that they're going to be putting out here soon. So we'll have to see how they do with that. But I think that Li is on track. I think that this company has a lot going for it as well. And this one easily has potential to break above these highs that the analysts are expecting, because there's a lot of momentum in this space in general. So I think that this is another one we need to really be watching. So we have a lot to really be keeping an eye on in the whole EV space, with the things that are going on with China and how that's going to be affecting the whole EV stock market. So with that being said, I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts. Do you think that we're going to possibly see things going better from here? I'd like to know, but we are seeing some positives at this moment, but anything can be changing at any time. Plenty of other videos in the works that we're going to be getting to, going to be covering more Lucid Motors, of course. We're going to be going more in-depth videos on NIO, Xpeng, and Li Auto, and we have a lot that I'm going to be getting to on this channel. So as we continue these videos, please be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe. New videos coming out all the time. Thank you for watching.